Hey there, good morning. I'm John. Today is Friday. Yes, Friday, September 15, 2023. This is my daily vlog where I stand up each morning and talk about the ins and outs and ups and downs of trying to make content creation a full-time thing. And yeah, I say stand up, and that's really, coming from used to work in software development. It's pretty much, that is, if you're familiar with it, it's that morning meeting where you verbalize what you plan on doing and what roadblocks you have and get input from your team. That's really what I've been doing for a little over 10 months now. Yeah, it's going on. Let's start by talking about yesterday. So yesterday, my target was to complete and publish the next long-form video, the review of one of those arcade gadgets. I did that, and it's out. So I did the handheld Galaga device. And it's out in the world. I published it about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's performing on par. I think overnight it's got about 3,300 views or so. And it's worth noting that it's doing on par with the previous one I did, which is now pushing about 6,000 views. So these are continuing to grow. They have a life beyond just the initial blast. And as I mentioned, I expect they'll continue to do that as these products start to hit retail shelves, and they're not just word of mouth and sold out on Amazon. They're actually available for everybody to get to. So got that completed, and that fed the stats for yesterday. Again, our stats are gradually working their way up as we publish a lot of new content right in the midst of this release time for these new gadgets. So I think that where were we the other day? I think we said a couple days before we could hit the next big milestone, but just this morning we hit 37,000 subscribers. When I looked last time, it was like 37,002 or something. Like it just hit, early this morning as we were getting up, and so. It's always exciting to hit that next milestone, but then it's like, oh, all the numbers are zeros. How long till the next milestone? It's double-edged sword. But no, the growth is fantastic, and that's. I had a really good subscriber day yesterday after the previous day being low. I think we were pushing 75 or 80 yesterday instead of the average 50 or so. So that was nice. So let's talk a little bit about today and going into the weekend. So today we have podcast recording this evening. I have to do a little bit of writing and prep for that still. Additionally, I have a call with a representative from Atari today. Just kind of a meet and greet a little bit, get to know you. This is I mentioned maybe last week or a couple weeks ago that I had reached out and they were like, yeah, we do know your channel. Well, let's talk. And we just had trouble syncing up until today. So we'll talk to him this morning. And yeah, I would love to be able to say I'm going to crank out another video today for the weekend, but I don't see that happening. I have plenty of videos that I could do, but what I anticipate is like maybe I'll dig in a previous video and try to create a short or something just to create some new content. But I have a lot going on in my personal world life that is starting to encroach on my content creation life. I have a bit of a life change that's going on. Nothing major or calamitous. Don't worry about me. Just, it's things that you have to deal with when things change in the world. And so, things like that. And it's just like, I think today I'm going to have to split my focus between, kind of monitoring what's going on with GenXGrownUp, attending my meetings and writing and stuff, but also double duty working on, preparing for this change coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'll tell you about it later. It's nothing calamitous. It's kind of cool, actually. It's not being. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. No big deal. Yeah, so I expect today is going to be low productivity and high preparation. So whenever I'm feeling low productivity and can't focus on anything for long durations, I'll work on a little bit of writing for the next video. I will work on making some thumbnails for the next couple of videos or starting them, and get that work underway. To that end, I guess something that I will mention is every once in a while we try to scatter different, how am I feeling or whatever, or little tip things. And in this video I want to share something that I've learned really over the last few months about thumbnailing of videos. I had always heard, when you start up, you like, how can I be successful? And you read things and you watch things, and people say, focus on your thumbnails, focus on your thumbnails. And that's true. It's absolutely true. But it's more true than focus on your thumbnail, because it's absolutely the billboard for will somebody watch it. It's the cover of the book. If that is not interesting, in some way, you're probably going to get very, very few clicks versus a huge amount. Like, getting people in the door is the tough part. And what I have learned is something I'd heard before that I thought was silly, but it's really, really true, and that is, don't make the thumbnail of your video the last thing you do. In fact, it's the first thing I start after maybe, writing a couple paragraphs or sentences about what I'm going to talk about. And not just because, the creative flow or whatever, but creating the thumbnail up front can start to frame your video. It's like, what's the thing you want to talk about? Okay, I'm going to talk about, this computer mouse, right? Okay, well, the laser got me. Talk about this computer mouse. What are you going to say about it? You're going to say you like how gray it is, or you like how many buttons there are, or whatever. Let's say it's the buttons. Well, then you need to call out the big thing about it in the thumbnail and say, have a picture of it and go, 3 buttons? Like wow, or say 7 buttons? Is that the big deal? Whatever is it. What is it about this? Or crazy buttons or something. The thumbnail can help you find the thrust of the video, and also can drive people to click when there's something interesting to talk about the object. Beyond that, the reason for me that I start early, the first thing I do is I start building the thumbnail, and I leave it open in my Paint program all day, a couple of days, and when I click over to it, I go, oh, I should add this, or I should a little shadow here, or what if this was higher contrast, or oh, I forgot, what if I spread this out or tweak this color? It allows me to, if you do it the last thing, which I used to do, video's done, publish, oh, I can't publish without a thumbnail, let me quick and knock one out. It's going to be your first pass. But if you start that thumbnail first, you have time to iterate on it and get better at it, and you come back to it with fresh eyes the next day while you're working on the video. You're editing, right? The thumbnail's kind of almost ready to go, and you're looking and go, oh, what I could do is I could add like a starburst here, or I could add a splash of color over here, or a little smiley face, whatever it is. It gives you a chance to be your own editor. You can iterate on, you can improve upon something. It's not that you have to be incredibly creative right off the bat, it's that give yourself time to iterate on that thumbnail, because it's so important. And it's something that I am learning and is working for me. I always start there, and that kind of guides where I'm going with the video. So, yeah, I heard it over and over. Start with make the thumbnail the first thing. Spend an hour on your thumbnail. All that is just to say, don't make it an afterthought. Make it as important as your video, because if you have a fantastic video and a crappy thumbnail, the work you put into the video will be greatly diminished. The return that you'll get on it is greatly diminished, because fewer people will bother clicking because the thumbnail itself is not that interesting. So that's my little YouTube tips and tricks share for the day. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and get going with my mediocre, semi-productive day that I have coming up. I want to thank you for stopping to check out today's vlog. If you did, if you're here every day, I love you for that. The weekend is coming. We made it. I want you to have a fantastic Friday and an awesome weekend. I'm going to try to do the same, and I will talk to you again on Monday. Bye-bye.